Hello, my name's Al DeChico. I live in Golden Valley, and I understand that this is a federal issue. I understand that from speaking to the governor's office, that they cannot or will not even make a statement about this. My question is, have you tested the rainwater? And if you haven't, have you seen the results of our rainwater tests? And also, are you aware that many of the people sitting in this room right here have very high levels of barium, aluminum, and strontium in their blood? People are getting sick and dying. And we want the ADEQ not just to give us a little speech today, but actually to maybe perhaps speak out against it if you know it's going on. And if not, I would suggest you do a lot more investigation. We've been doing it for years. So I'd like a comment on, one, the rainwater, what's in it, and two, what's in our blood. And if it's not coming from geoengineering, is it your responsibility to investigate that and tell us where it is coming from? Thank you. Does the ADEQ have the ability to take a position on this and investigate it further and find out where these toxic metals are coming from that are in our rainwater and in our blood? Thank you.
Thank you. I am assuming you do have scientists in your organization. Is that correct?
We do, ma'am.
Thank you. My name is Michelle Arnett, and I'm from Bullhead City. And I'm one of the several who have had my blood tested because I was getting sick and I didn't know why. And I did go to my doctor, and he had some question on how to order these specific tests for heavy metals. And when the results came back and they were really out of line, he said he had never seen anything like it in his life, and he didn't have a clue what to do about it. And then the bottom line was, he said, I think you're just going to have to live with it, and I want to be healthy. So just out of curiosity, how many of you in here have had your blood tested? Raise your hands. Okay, thank you.
Todd Howard from Kingman. I understand your skepticism, I really do. But I have a couple questions for you, not to come up against you, but to try to get your institution, your agency moving. The ADEQ.
Yes, sir. ADEQ
has a mission statement, does it not? It was created for a purpose.
It does.
Can you tell us what that is?
If I can read it, I certainly can. Our mission statement is to protect and enhance public health and the environment in Arizona.
Very good. Okay, my second question to you is this. Now, if these people have evidence, if they have enough accumulated evidence to be of interest, can you tell us who to send it to get an investigation going? Because if their health is in danger, that's within your mission statement. My third question to you is, if there is sufficient evidence to invoke your jurisdiction for the purposes of your mission statement, can the state of Arizona, through your office or through someone else, file that complaint against the federal government and get something moving? So can you tell us who to send our evidence to? Who are the scientists in your department that we could send it to?
The problem is we have no jurisdiction over this issue, so sending it to our scientists won't help. We can't do anything.
Why do you not have jurisdiction if your mission statement has to do with public health and they have evidence that their health may be being affected, not by engine emissions, but apparently by a deliberate spraying effort? When does your mission statement bring in your jurisdiction in the interest of the people of the state that you're apparently intended to protect? If you can't do that, what is the purpose of your department? So who do we send our evidence to get our public servants moving?
I appreciate you coming. I understand already, according to different newspapers, that pretty much you're here just to make some statement of jurisdiction. Even if you would admit that there is a problem coming from this type of environment, we're talking about the airplanes, you still couldn't do anything. I wish there was something like maybe some scientists, because I tell you something, I'm not even going to approach this from a point of view of geoengineering, weather modification. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about there is a real serious crisis health crisis, documented. Officially, I would like to serve you right now, not as a legal, but as documents that I already sent the register to the governor, to former Senator Gould, for the former representative of our district. There are like at least 12 blood tests here, created by official laboratory with real doctors, MD, and all these blood tests came back with a high, extreme level of barium, some aluminum. I'm talking about levels that they go about more than 1,000%. So I forget about the airplanes, the aliens, and anything else. This is a crisis. We have people that they are suffering, and we don't know where this source is from. So there are a lot of things that I think is a state duty to investigate. All I bring you here today officially, ma'am, this is for you. There are blood tests with names, some they're being blacked, but they are real blood tests that deserve attention. And it's your duty, moral and legal duty. You're on the record.
Okay, first of all, my name is Deborah, and I'm from Mesa, Arizona. This is not emissions from an airplane. That's completely disinformation. It doesn't come from engines. This comes from spray nozzles that are retrofitted on airplanes. And I want to know, if you don't have any jurisdiction over the air quality, or over the air, when they fly up in the air and they dump this on us, who has jurisdiction over the generators while they're on the ground?
We have jurisdiction over the ground generators, yes.
Okay, so who's testing those? And the airplanes that emit these while they're on the ground, before they fly up in the sky?
Yeah, I think that all of us, for a long time, have known that we're being sprayed. This is not contrails. Contrails are very short. Chemtrails go along the sky. And when you see these planes go from one end of what you see to the other and back again and back again and back again, and you have sometimes as many as 10 planes doing this at one time. And you know, we have gotten a hold of Jan Brewer's office and the senators throughout the United States. And in Jan Brewer's office, finally, they said, oh, well, you need to do the FAA. We got a hold of them, nothing. They said, there's nothing, it's contrails. So then we go back to Jan Brewer's office, and no one will talk again. And really, frankly, we're not the only people. There are people all over the place that have sent information in. Now, you're here, and you're inadequate to be able to take care of this for us. But whoever can, anybody who's in a place of power, like Kelly Ward, or you in your office, you need to really push this, because really, we are being sprayed like we're bugs, and it's really not okay.
Libby Schneider, Lake Havasu. I moved to Lake Havasu 6 years ago, and 5 years ago I started seeing these chemtrails fly over. It's been constant since 5 years this fall. Okay, this is nanoparticle aluminum, barium, strontium. As Russell Blaylock says, it goes straight up your olfactory nerve into your brain. They're finding all kinds of rhinal disintegration, degeneration of our brain. We're breathing it in here. It's an irritant. The Navy has done, and the Air Force has done, nanoparticle exposure levels on rats. It causes pulmonary fibrosis, macrophage, inflammatory processes in our bodies. You're smirking the whole time here, telling us and just stonewalling us this entire time, saying you can't do anything. Our air is crap. You know, it was clear 5 years ago. Now it's a constant haze. We're breathing in this every single breath we take, all year long, all night long. This stuff is so small it cannot be filtered out of HEPA filters, because we're a couple of orders of magnitude smaller than a HEPA filter. It's like I am so angry. I'm a chiropractor. My job is trying to take care of people, and we're being sprayed to death. And you're just doing nothing about it. So it's like, get someone who does something.
I'd like to make a suggestion. My name is Walter Spar, Lake Havasu. In Arizona, we are unique in that we have a group of scientists that can tell you while this material is in the air with a spectrometer specifically what it is as it's coming out of the back of the airplane, whether it's from spray nozzles or the engines. It's the best in the world. They have all the equipment there. We're a community. People do favors for each other. They will do a favor for you and do a spectral analysis of that. Now, the next step is very significantly more difficult because everybody knows the federal government is behind it, the federal government is doing it. I agree, you do not maintain subject matter jurisdiction over these kind of events with the federal government. The federal government does these things primarily under the guise of national security. I'm going to take you back a few years. When President Eisenhower left office, he said, beware of the military-industrial complex. Shortly after that, people started dying in San Francisco. Cancer. Cancer was an epidemic. Nobody realized cancer was communicable. Somebody sneezed next to you and you catch cancer. Really? The statutory time limit on when the government can keep secrets from the people is 35 years. 35 years later, it was revealed. They intentionally released radioactive material into the atmosphere specifically to count the death rate of people. It was done for a national security project. The project was, if an atomic bomb ever went off here, they wanted to find out what the fallout would do to all the people. The only thing, so all the people who died, I mean, after this was divulged, the people who were still alive were their family members, and they lost interest. I mean, over time, the government wins. They beat you through attrition. For the last 40 years, there has been a law in this country that very few people know about. And the law is going to sound stupid to you, but this honestly is the real law. If the President of the United States declares a state of national emergency, he and all of his people gain immunity. So if you sue the federal government and you go into the courtroom, the judge lacks subject matter jurisdiction over any evidence submitted by the President during a time of national security as declared by him. So in other words, there's hardly any way you're going to win a lawsuit if he makes that declaration. This is a very difficult problem. I litigated that issue for 20 years. And the Supreme Court agreed with that stupid decision. I have studied this for so many years. The only solution short of physical violence, the only solution I can come up with is you've got to get rid of all those stupid people in Washington, D.C.
Your own opinion and personal thoughts. Working for a quality control agency, as you guys do, in Phoenix, when you go outside and you must see trails everywhere on certain days, what are your thoughts? Don't you think that, hey, something needs to be done with the air? Is this normal?
My daughter did ask me about them the other day. She said it looked like a tic-tac-toe board.
First of all, I want to say you don't look like a scientist or an attorney. You look like me. You look like all of us. And you mentioned that you have a daughter. And I don't know if you have children yet or not. But I think that like us, regular people, you would care if this was going to somehow affect your children as well. I moved here in '85, and the beautiful blue skies that I saw every day when I opened up my blind were just enough to make your heart jump for joy. But in the late 90s, I looked up, and to my surprise, I saw these crazy things going on in the sky. And like your daughter, I was like, what's that? And I started counting. I stopped counting at 26 lines. that crisscrossed and went different ways, but the 26 that I could identify individually. And every year I've seen it get worse and worse. Now, my barium level is 280 when it should be less than 10. I think I'm kind of the poster child for Mojave County, but I don't live in Golden Valley. I don't live in Kingman. So I really don't shop or eat the same things. I don't do anything that they do similarly. I also don't go in the river, which is something that the health department mentioned, because I'm embarrassed to say it, but I can't swim. And so I stay out of the river. I have Crohn's disease, so I don't eat all the nuts that they were referring to because my body just won't digest things like that. But I'm pleading with you, ladies, help us, join us, because you too have a skin in this game. Look up. I know that when we walk around in our daily lives, we're too busy looking to where we're going so we don't trip over something, or we're in a hurry to get where we're going, or we're driving and we're avoiding other cars. But just stop and look up and ask why, and help us. Once, whatever the source is, let's say it's an airplane, just for speculation. Once it leaves that airplane and it lands on Arizona, the ground, our airspace, our plants, our trees, our people, then doesn't it become your interest? Not even then?
It's an airplane.
Okay. Well, but after it's not in the airplane anymore.
It's still an airplane.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm John. I live in Kingman, out in Valley Vista there. I have a question for the senator. In your opinion, do you think we're a bunch of nuts? Or what is your true opinion of this whole phenomenon? I moved from Michigan about 12 years ago, and one of my neighbors out in Valley Vista was telling me about this spray and stuff, and we affectionately nicknamed him Jet Poop Bob, you know. But, you know, when I first moved here, for the first few years, day after day after day, a crystal clear blue skies. We loved it. Arizona. It is no more, Senator.
Todd Howard, Kingman. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for coming. I know you all have valid concerns, and I'm sure that a lot of you have good, solid evidence. But what I want to talk to you about is no matter what you present here tonight, it's going to fall on deaf ears. Now, they've told you this is a jurisdictional matter. And the reason I wanted this nice lady here to point out the mission statement of the ADEQ is you are that jurisdiction. Do you understand? They have no jurisdiction about what comes out of the back of an airplane until it affects your health. Now, you have to, listen to me, what you have to do is you have to get your evidence together, and you have to make a claim. You have to file a complaint, and you've got to be able to substantiate it. For any state agency to find jurisdiction, there's got to be a claim of damage. Do you understand that? It's very simple law. I guarantee you that the state agencies have jurisdiction when they want so many bucks for you running a stop sign. They're just happier than hell to collect money. But if you want to get them moving for your benefit, then you have to understand that you are that jurisdiction, and you have to set that jurisdiction in motion. Get your public servants off top dead center. Get a claim together, get your evidence together, get organized. Please, please do not be so naive as to think you're going to make anybody up there care. They're your public servants. Get them in motion. Get your claim together. Get moving. Do not be naive.
First, I'd like to make a plain statement of fact. No matter what anybody thinks, the United States Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and it will be obeyed by everybody, including the ADEQ. Next is a little bit of an opinion. We had hard questions here. I don't understand why the ADEQ would send somebody that looks more like a lawyer when we really need a scientist, maybe doctors, somebody that can answer the hard questions and not just shuffle us away and then you go on about your business. And the other thing is, this is a representative form of government, and we the people are the ones that you represent. And I'm not seeing a real good job being done. I hope we don't have to remind everybody the last voice is us, and we are ruled by the consent of the governed. And if we don't start getting back a little bit closer to what the people want, we may have to remove that consent and even remove some of the public officials that represent us. I do appreciate Kelly Ward for taking our questions, but how about if we do this again, we get a little bit more serious about it. Instead of lawyers and mouthpieces that can answer questions and cover for people, we start talking about the truth. There is something going on there, and I'm not the only one that's kind of upset about it. So how about if we do this again, we get a little bit more to the bottom of the truth and bring some of your scientists and let's see some of the proof. And incidentally, I got one last story and then I'll return this microphone. You know, in the early 1950s, when jet airplanes would fly over the house in West Virginia, my dad, who was a doctor by the way, we would go out and he would explain the difference between the jets and the propeller planes. I understood about the condensation trail way back in the 1950s. And you know, I've been watching those planes in the sky ever since. And as my memory serves me, about 1990, when I was going around exercising at the park over here, I looked up in the sky and I says, what in the heck is that? I've never seen that before. My dad was still alive then. I remember calling him a day or two later, talking to him on the phone. Have you ever seen anything like this? Well, I'm 60 years old, and I've watched the sky for most of that 60 years, and I'm telling you, I don't need to be a scientist. There's something changed. I don't know physics. If I drop this microphone behind my back, I don't need to be a master in physics to know it's not going to strike the ceiling, it's going to strike the floor. So the next time we have one of these meetings, let's get a little bit more serious about this and bring in some of the people that can answer these questions and the people that have the power, like Kelly Ward, to take it a step farther. We start actually getting to the bottom of this. We start reminding our elected officials we are concerned and we want something done. And we're not going to take no for an answer much longer. Thank you.
I don't know. My name is Bill Earnshaw. I'm from Kingman, Arizona. I live on the backside of the Wallapies. I'm a miner. And I had some pretty exotic equipment on hand, and so I checked my... it's actually easier to check your hair and your urine, and I found gold and zinc, and I thought, well, that's interesting. And so I checked my water supply, and there was the gold and zinc. So when you're doing your testing, you need to eliminate all your other things that are around you. And I use a form of chelation. You can take it in tablets, and it's for heavy metals. And you can get some of this stuff out of your body. The other thing that I would suggest to you is the gentleman before me is that you do need to organize because the government in general isn't interested in helping you if you haven't figured that out. I know some of you are from Vietnam, and there's where I found out the government definitely didn't want to help me. It was the opposite. So the more you organize, get your data together in an organized form and present it to Senator Ward. I'm sure she'll be of much help to you. And I'd also like to thank Senator Ward for her legislation against the NSA.
Sky, no ability to analyze it.
And the weather says it's a clear
Yeah, no, I live up on a hill, okay? I see the horizon. And again, you know, like I moved here 6 years ago. The sky was beautiful and clear. In 2009, it started to get sprayed all the time. It is a white blanket, hazy muck all the time. It doesn't matter if we're being currently sprayed or not. It's always there. It's always there. You can't analyze that.
There is.
Plus, as I said, this is nanoparticle. Once this genie's out of the bottle, it's not going back in. And the plants, there's like what Rosalind Peterson is a, you know, agricultural analyst for California. 50 million hectares of trees have died because of the fogging out, clouding out. They're not even making enough photosynthesis to maintain themselves. Plus, the toxicity of the aluminum and things are causing their roots to shut down, so they're not even uptaking water. This is a problem, kids. The species extinction rate is 150 to 200 a day. 73,000 a year. This is not something that you can sneeze off and brush aside. If you have kids, you should care. If you have lungs or a brain, you should care. This is toxicity that is in our air every breath we take in this room. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not here. It's a nanoparticle. It's toxic. Aluminum is a toxic protoplasmic poison. It stifles numerous enzyme systems in all your cells. It passes the blood-brain barrier. It degrades the blood-brain barrier. It degrades the tight junction cells in your intestines. It causes leaky gut syndrome. It's causing a host of problems. And you look so bored here. You're just smirking the whole time, and it's like a big joke to you. This is important. Our country is being poisoned, and nothing is going to be done about it.
Hi, my name's Angelique. I live in Clark County, Nevada. One thing I want to make clear here that hasn't been said is that these are not these programs are not exclusive to just our country. These are global. This is a photograph, a satellite photograph of our planet. This is not contrails, you guys. This doesn't happen with contrails. I also want to capitalize on what you just said. We've talked a lot about the detrimental effects of geoengineering on human health. Everything is dying right now. The birds, the bees, the bats, the fish, the trees. I've got a report with me here that is a 29-day global report on fish die-offs. We caught a blip on the news about the Monterey, California fish die-off on May 17th of this year. We did not hear that there was 4 other states in our nation that were having massive fish die-offs. In that 29 days from April 19th to May 17th, there was 33 events around this planet, all of them involving millions of fish at 19 different locations on our planet. Everything is dying right now. Now, with all due respect, Senator Ward, I understood what you were saying about taking baby steps because that's necessary in the political arena when you're trying to accomplish something. We don't have time to take baby steps. We need to take huge steps if we stand any chance of doing anything about this.
I want to thank you, Dr. Ward, for holding this. And my question is for you. Based on recent Supreme Court's decisions concerning state rights, wouldn't there be some piece of legislation that you might be able to introduce based on testimony you've heard here today concerning this situation?
They told me I had to come and answer at this microphone. So I don't know. I'll just say I don't know. You guys know that I have been, over the 2 years that I've been your state senator, fighting for restoration of the proper balance between the states and the federal government, because I think that there is much too much federal overreach. So If there were a way, I mean, I'm open. I mean, I introduce legislation for constituents all the time. It's not my legislation. A lot of times I'm getting things from people. So if it's something that can be done in Arizona statute, I'm always willing to entertain that. With this particular issue, I think it's going to be very difficult because unless you get away from the chemtrail issue that you all are so passionate about, talking about our environmental quality, I think, can go farther in terms of making sure that there aren't any public health issues that are out there with our water, our soil, or our air. I don't know if that
Okay, I
answers
appreciate that. You know, the thing of it is, like I say, the Supreme Court just reaffirmed states' rights. So what I'm saying from this is the fact that we could, as a state, through our representatives, actually fight this. That's where I'm coming from. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Sharon, and I'm from Kingman. And again, I'd like to thank you, Senator Ward, and also you two lovely ladies. I apologize, I've forgotten your names. But really want to thank you for coming out. And as this very informed, organized woman said, this is an historic event. This is the first time, Senator Ward, that a legislature or any elected government official is having a meeting with their constituents, with their community, their fellow citizens, their fellow human beings. And I just want to say, for everyone here, I don't think anyone meant any personal attacks. It's very frustrating to try to educate people or present this evidence to people who have never noticed it. But there are tons of people living on this planet that never look up at the sky. And so I hope that this is an eye-opener and a wake-up call, because there's something very serious going on. And one thing that wasn't mentioned in terms of all of this is our newest disease, Morgellons. Please Google it.